The people who hate having guests are usually the best hosts alive, and nobody sees what an afternoon of company actually costs them. If the doorbell makes something in your chest pull tight, if you love your friends and still count the minutes until they leave, this is for you. Because that reaction isn't a flaw. It's a system doing exactly what it was built to do, inside a culture that decided a good heart has to mean an open door. You know the routine. An hour before they arrive, you're moving things, straightening cushions nobody will notice, hiding the mug you actually use, the notebook with your real handwriting in it, into a drawer. Not because the place is dirty, because it's honest, and honest is not what you show visitors. Then the knock comes. You open the door, and the smile is real. That's the strange part. You're genuinely glad to see them. But somewhere behind that smile, a timer starts. Quiet, patient, ticking toward the sound of the door closing behind them. You've probably spent years assuming that timer means something is wrong with you. Cold, ungrateful, secretly antisocial. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, that timer is going to look less like a defect, and more like the most misunderstood feature in the psychology of introverts. Here's what the world gets wrong about people like you. It assumes the person who dreads visitors is the one who cares the least. But look at who actually does the caring. You're the one who notices when someone's gone quiet and gently steers the conversation somewhere softer. You're not avoiding connection. You're carrying most of its weight. So quietly that nobody's ever thanked you, because nobody knew there was anything to thank. A psychologist named Irwin Altman spent his career studying what he called privacy regulation, and it explains that doorbell flinch better than any personality label. Altman found that your home isn't just where you live. It's what he called primary territory, the one space where your nervous system finally stops scanning. Your brain keeps a running map of that space, every object, every corner, every predictable silence. And it guards that map, hard, the way it guards your own skin. So when someone crosses that threshold, even someone you love, your body registers it before your thoughts do. That little jolt isn't anxiety, it's recognition. Something in the territory just changed, and every alarm you own went to standby. Now watch what hosting actually is for a brain like yours. A guest shows up, sits down, and relaxes. You show up to work. You're reading the room like a stage manager, tracking whose glass is empty, whether that pause in the conversation is comfortable or dying, whether the thermostat needs a nudge, all while performing the role of someone relaxing on their own furniture. Researchers have a name for what that costs: allostatic load. Basically, the wear and tear on a body that holds itself ready for too long. Nothing dramatic ever happens at these gatherings. The load builds anyway. Which brings us to the strangest math in your entire social life. You can stand in a packed bar for 4 hours and walk out fine, but 2 hours with one close friend, sitting on your own couch, leaves you flattened for the rest of the day. 4 hours with strangers? Nothing. 2 hours with someone you love? Wrecked. The bar was never yours. Nothing in it was under your protection. But the couch sits dead center on the one map your brain defends. Hold that thought. We're coming back for it. Take Nora, 34, Minneapolis. First condo after a decade of roommates. Her sister found out and declared a housewarming mandatory. It's tradition. You have to. So Nora spent that Saturday morning hiding her own life. The notebook with her real handwriting, the tower of chamomile boxes by the stove, the half-finished 1,000-piece puzzle of the Grand Canyon. 3 weeks of progress, boxed so the table could hold a cheese board. And yet she'd driven to 2 different stores to find the exact black cherry seltzer her best friend likes. The woman who dreads guests did that. And at the door that night, completely spent, she heard herself say, "Thanks for coming. Thanks for... you know what I mean." And here's the uncomfortable part. Some of you don't actually hate having guests. You hate being seen without the staging. And calling it introversion feels safer than admitting that almost nobody has ever met the unedited version of you. But for most of you, it really is the territory. And you deserve to see the proof. When you're home alone, every signal in the room is one you chose. The lamp sits at the exact brightness you picked. Even the silences are yours. You know the refrigerator's hum, the floorboard that creaks by the window. Neuroscientists call the machinery behind this sensory gating a filter in your brain that decides which sounds and movements deserve attention and which get waved through. In your own space, almost everything gets waved through. That's why home feels like rest. The gate barely has to work. Then a guest walks in, and the gate goes to full staffing. A voice at a volume you didn't set. Footsteps on a rhythm you can't predict. The fridge opening when you didn't open it. None of it is wrong, but none of it was expected either. And your filter now has to inspect every single piece. I want to stop here for a second, because something needs saying. You're not cold. You're not broken. And you were never ungrateful. If someone in your life needs to hear that too, send them this video. And if you want more honest psychology like this every week, subscribing helps more than you'd think. Now, back to your living room, because the science gets even better. Colin Ellard, a cognitive scientist who studies how physical spaces shape us, puts it bluntly. Your surroundings aren't a backdrop for your feelings. They're an ingredient in them. Change the room, and you've changed the person standing in it. It's one of the quietest findings in the psychology of introverts. The couch didn't stop being comfortable that afternoon. It stopped being yours. That's the bar mystery, solved. The bar was nobody's territory, so your brain filed all of it under background noise. Your living room can't be background, ever. And it doesn't end when they leave. For everyone else, the visit ends at the door. For you, there's a second shift. Hours, sometimes a whole day, of quietly putting your inner furniture back where it goes. Part of that is emotional contagion, the well-documented way one person's mood seeps into the people around them. Guests never just bring themselves. They bring their stress, the argument they had in the car on the way over, and you, the one who notices everything. Absorb all of it like it has actual weight, because for you, it does. So home quietly becomes the one place that can't do its job. Host in it, and it turns into a hotel where you're the entire staff. Front desk, kitchen, housekeeping. Smiling in the lobby of the one building where you were supposed to be off duty. Everything about the scene says rest. None of it feels like rest. And then there's the part you don't say out loud. You love these people, genuinely, and you still feel relief doing the quiet math on when they'll head home. You've probably let that scare you, because what kind of person loves someone and wants them gone? Here's the answer nobody gave you, a normal one. Those two feelings run on completely different systems. One is about the person, the other is about the territory. Feeling both at once doesn't split you in half. It just means both systems work. So here's the reframe. For some people, home is a place to sleep and store their stuff. For you, it's closer to a workshop, the room where you get reassembled. The door closes behind your last guest, and something in your chest lets go. Not because you wanted them gone, because the room belongs to you again, and the person who exists in that room can finally come back. And you've been treating that release like evidence against yourself. It isn't. Most takes on the psychology of introverts stop at, they need alone time. This is what the alone time is for. That's not coldness. That's maintenance. You're allowed to love people and still protect the place where you recover from them. So here's what to do about it. 3 things. First, put an end time on the invitation before you send it. And no, come by 2 to 5 is not rude. Rude is quietly resenting people for staying too long when you never told them when to leave. Your nervous system relaxes the moment it knows where the finish line is. Honestly, so does theirs. Second, make somewhere neutral your default. Coffee shop, park, their place. Nobody's being kept at a distance there. You're meeting them on ground. Your brain doesn't have to defend, so all of your attention goes to them instead of the territory. Third, and this is the strongest one, build a reclaiming ritual. Nora has one now. Guests leave, and she doesn't rush to the dishes. She puts the Grand Canyon puzzle back on the table first, pieces before plates, sets the chamomile back by the stove, and walks each room once, slowly. 10 minutes. Nobody taught her that. Her body invented it years ago. She just stopped treating it like a guilty secret. She still hosts sometimes. She still hides the notebook. The difference is what happens inside her when the doorbell rings. Because a closed door was never a wall against people. It's how you come back. So tell me in the comments. When the door finally clicks shut and the house is yours again, what's the very first thing you do? I read every answer. If this described you, subscribe. This channel was built for people exactly like you. And the next time the doorbell rings and your chest pulls tight, you'll know exactly what that is. Not a defect. The guard clocking in.